Hello guys, welcome to my first video here on the new Trail Mix website. Um, and I thought it would be a good time to talk about CFA tips and tricks that I've used to successfully pass the first two levels of the CFA exam and offer sort of guidance on anyone out there who is currently enrolled for the exam on December 6th or who is thinking about enrolling in a CFA exam in the future. One of the toughest parts about the CFA is the amount of time that is required. Each exam has different recommendations, but it's a minimum of usually 200 to 250 hours of time put in. And one of the reasons why so much time is required and the pass rates are so low is because there is so much information that is covered on the exam, that is covered in the study materials. And the approach that a person should take for the exam is much different than what most applicants are used to. So, for example, in grade school and in high school, many of us, aimed for a 90%, a 95%, right? If we got like an 80%, that'd be a C, and we'd be disappointed. Our parents would be disappointed. For the CFA exam, Kaplan Schweizer recommends aiming for a 70%, which would be a D in grade school. So if your mindset is, oh, I need a 95% like I did in college or in high school, if you try using that on the CFA exam, you'll find out that you will be greatly disappointed because you will not achieve a 95% on the exam. Again, you want to shoot for around a 70% because that's what's considered passing. So in order to kind of get in the right mindset, in order to accept the fact that a 70% is in fact a decent grade and not a D, I've used what I call the 50-30-20 rule. And what that simply means is that for 50% of the questions, I want to make sure that I can nail those, that I know those for certain. Those could be, again, easy questions, get good points on topics that I'm strong in, maybe like ethics or equity or accounting. But when taking the exam and when preparing for the exam, you want to make sure that you can get at least half the questions right with fairly high certainty. The next 30% are questions where you can narrow down the answer choices to a 50-50. Now, given the fact that there's only 3 answer choices available per question, except for the short answer on the level 3 for the first half. But given the fact that there's only 3 answer choices and there's no penalty for guessing, it's not unreasonable to be able to narrow an answer choice down to a 50-50. So again, 50 questions, or half the questions, we want to make sure we can get those right. And that's a very achievable goal if you put in the time that's required. The next 30%, we want to make sure we can get down to a 50-50, which is definitely reasonable. And then lastly, the last 20% is just a random guess. We just don't know. We forgot the formula. We're not familiar with the topic. It's a really complex fixed income problem that we just don't want to spend the time on. We didn't get these answers. We ran out of time. Long story short, we just don't know. And so what's best about the 50-30-20 rule mindset is 2 things. The first thing is that it nets out to around a 72%, which should be passing for most CFA exams. That's a very decent score. Again, Kaplan Schweizer recommends you get a 70% on the practice exams before moving on to the next section, because that's considered you've understood the material. So a 72% is definitely a decent score. So that's the first thing. The second thing too is that one of the hardest parts about the CFA exam as well is just the stress, is the pressure. Now the CFA exams are offered every 6 months, but in the past it was offered every year. So the mindset, the pressure of, if I don't pass this exam, I'm going to have to spend another 300 hours and I have to wait another 6 months to take it again. And I'm going to have to go to all my colleagues and my friends and say, sorry guys, I didn't pass, sort of the ego hit there. It can be a lot of pressure. And there's plenty of people that I've witnessed, that I've talked to, who don't seem to handle that pressure well. And I think a lot of it stems to the fact that they think they need to ace it. And when they see a few questions they don't know, they start to panic. They start to think, oh my gosh, I'm blanking, or oh my gosh, I don't know the material, oh my gosh, I'm underprepared. When in fact, no, those are just The fact is there's just so much information, you might not have a great grasp on it. But the other sections that you have a tremendous grasp on that will help balance that out. So having a 50-30-20 mindset is great because it's like, look, I can get every fifth question wrong. I don't need to know all of them. Levels 2 and 3 have sections of 5 to 6 questions, and usually the latter part of the section of the group are tougher questions. And so you might not be able to get all those tough questions, and that's okay, because with the 50-30-20 mindset, it allows you to get a few questions wrong. So the point is that it helps you maintain your mental sanity. It helps de-stress, it helps remove the anxiety. Like, look, I can get some questions wrong and still pass the exam and still do great. So anyways, video's going on a little bit longer than I hoped. This is a multiple recording. But again, hopefully that helps you guys out there. If you have any questions, please let me know. But something that I've used and I've maintained composure throughout the exams, remembering the 50-30-20 rule. And again, hopefully it helps. Best of luck and start studying.